What's going on, my guardian gamers? Is I, Birdman, back with another Destiny 2 build, and today I'm going to be kind of pulling an exotic out of the vault that we all know is really solid, but I feel like especially post Lightfall has kind of fallen by the wayside because of, Strand becoming so powerful and Synthoceps being so good for that subclass. So pulling out the old Hoyle, and we're gonna see how it is still running in this setup. Now, before I get into the video, know you can follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Birdman778. Give a thumbs up on this video. Let me know something that you're interested in seeing down below, whether it's Titan, Hunter, or Warlock. Definitely do those two things because it really helps us out in the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and become a member if you want to get your name at the end of the video and all the thanks and appreciation, all that stuff. Now, let's jump right on in. Now, we always like to start off with that exotic we're going to be using. And again, like I mentioned, it is the Heart of Inmost Light. This has been probably a S tier exotic, I would say, for Titan since it was released. I mean, even back in like D1, it was really solid, but it got even better in D2 because of the armor perk. Overflowing Light, using an ability, grenade, melee, or barricade, empowers the other two abilities. Empowered means abilities have faster regen, melees and grenades do more damage, and barricades have more hit points. Now, this is just so freaking great all around, especially in my opinion, when it comes to the Void subclass, pulling off the fact that it has a beautiful flow between all three abilities, and you're able to just absolutely just demolish everybody around you. Now, I mentioned we're using the Void subclass for this. First off, for your super, I prefer Ward of Dawn. I've been a bubble Titan since D1, so I am very, very fond of this super more than anything, especially for the fact that it's really a great start and stop. You don't have to do a roaming melee. You're able to get protection from it. It's really good in in-game content, and you get a weapon damage bonus, and it has one of the shortest cooldowns of any super. So we really like that, but I will not tell you no to using the Sentinel Shield if you want to run around, be like Captain America, and do a whole lot of damage. For your abilities, I recommend the Rally Barricade over the Towering, purely off the fact that, again, with this setup where we're trying to just flow between all three of our abilities as fast as possible, this obviously has the shortest cooldown, so it's going to be the best bet for it. Also, whenever we pick up Void Breaches, which we're going to talk about here in a second, we get energy back for this. So it's really nice for, again, just that flow. But again, if you need like a little bit more help for yourself, if you're noticing you're just not able to handle a lot of incoming attacks and stuff like that, the Towering Barricade is definitely a great option. For our melee, I recommend Shield Throw, purely off the fact that, you're able to get that kind of long distance, able to hit multiple targets, and also making contact will give you that overshield. Now, Shield Bash is a really good choice as well if you want to get close into this, but I don't prefer it for endgame content unless I am trying to like one-shot champs with Peregrine Greaves. For our grenade, I recommend Vortex Grenade because, again, it's going to pull those enemies in, do damage over time, and it's just really good for weakening plenty of targets that we're going to get from our fragments. Aspects, I recommend Offensive Bulwark while you have Overshield, which we're getting from our Shield Throw if we get it from that, or inside our Ward Dawn. Your grenade charges significantly faster and you have increased melee range and damage, and melee final blows extend the duration of your Overshield. And if you're using the Sentinel Shield super, you gain an additional Shield Throw. So again, like I said, definitely a good option if you really feel like being Captain America, but I prefer to just go with, the Ward of Dawn. But this is just really, really nice, especially whenever we pop our bubble, we're going to get a free grenade out of it. And we're just going to get that really good recharge rate on it. Also, I'm a big fan of Bastion. Casting your super to grant an overshield for your nearby allies, and casting your barricade grants overshield to yourself and nearby allies and empowers it, enabling it to slowly regenerate the overshield of allies bunkering behind it and extend the overshield duration. Again, just adding kind of to the tankiness of this setup so that we're able to constantly have that overshield active, whether it's activating our barricade or using our shield throw. Now, Control Demo is really decent for this setup because we are going to be having volatile rounds, and that's going to add to health and everything like that. But personally, I just prefer this just because I think it goes better with the flow of the Heart of Inmost Light. Fragment wise, first off, Echo of Undermining is going to be a huge one, and like you have to have it on. Your Void Grenades weaken targets. Weakening means they're going to be slowed and also take increased damage. I really, really enjoy this just because, again, we're going to be chucking a whole lot of grenades with this setup. So it's constantly just going to be stopping enemies in their tracks and giving you a bit of an advantage. Next would be Echo of Instability. First off, defeating targets with your grenade, which we're going to be playing of that, grants volatile rounds for your void weapons. Definitely recommend getting this just because getting those free explosions are really nice, but also the volatile part of it actually will give you the chance to stun barrier champions So again, just adding to that end game content part of this setup. Echo of Starvation, picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power grants Devour. I actually really like putting Devour on pretty much any character, but Titan works out really well just because you're going to be constantly having that overshield for yourself, but also getting that Devour is going to ensure that you're going to be able to get some health as well as grenade energy. And you constantly do that. It'll extend Devour as well. But like I mentioned before about Void Breaches, it's really nice to have that again because it's going to give us that class ability energy. And then finally, Echo of Harvest, defeating a weakened target, which we're going to be constantly doing from either our LMG that I'm going to recommend for this setup or from our grenade, will give us Orbs of Power and a Void Breach. Again, all these just kind of flowing into each other really well. I really, again, like this setup, especially with the Heart of Inmost Light, because of the fact that it has just a perfect flow with everything. Now, like I said, I recommend a certain exotic for this setup if you really just want to take advantage of everything, and that's going to be the Detrimistic Chaos. I really hope I said that right, but I really do enjoy this LMG, especially again this season. LMGs have got kind of given a second chance, especially being so used for overload champions. But its intrinsic trait reads, while holding down the trigger, every fourth bullet becomes a heavy projectile that weakens targets on impact. Again, adding to that weakening effect of everything. Essentially, any enemy that we're going to be shooting with this weapon is going to end up getting weakened, and we're going to be able to take advantage of those fragments in our tree from that. Also, the Vex Decimal, while holding down the trigger, every fourth heavy metal projectile also makes targets volatile on impact. So we're getting weakening and volatility. Again, a big reason why I said if you want to use the volatile aspect for this instead of Bastion, definitely go for it. But again, I prefer having that overshield just because we're already getting decent health regen from the Devour with this setup. Also, I really hope this weapon eventually gets a catalyst that adds maybe some type of suppression or just like a bigger mag or something like that. Just because I really enjoy this on all my Void classes because it's able to do so much damage and fit into the flow of, weakening and volatility. Now, with our mods and everything you're going to want to use for this setup, first off, on your helmet, I recommend using a harmonic siphon so that you're able to get all of those orbs of power from your Void weapons and ashes to assets so that we're able to get our super back as fast as we humanly can when getting all these kills with our grenades. And then again, recently I've been a big fan of the heavy ammo finder just so that I'm able to use my LMG a little bit more. On our gloves, I recommend a grenade kickstart just so that you're able to constantly keep up the flow of those grenades. We're able to create plenty of Void Breaches, which we're going to talk about that from our legs here in a second, as well as Orbs of Power to get plenty of armor charges so that we're able to just constantly have one ready to throw. Also, boltering detonation so that we get that class ability back a little bit faster from our grenades, as well as a momentum transfer so that we get our melee cooldown from those grenades. So again, even though this is a exotic and build where it kind of flows between all four on the gloves, you want to focus on getting grenade things because your grenade's going to be probably a bigger asset than the other two. On our chest piece, I end up going with triple charged up. So then again, we're getting plenty of those Void Breaches and orbs constantly. I'm able to take advantage of it, have high stacks, and always have a grenade ready. Now, do know you probably could swap out 2 of these for just like a concussive dampener if you're worried about damage. But again, I'm getting plenty of healing from my Devour as well as all these overshields that I don't really have to worry about it. On our legs, I recommend a elemental charge. Again, I was mentioning before those Void Breaches being able to give us armor charges. This is how you're able to do it, as well as a stacks on stacks, making sure that all those Void Breaches as well as Orbs of Power count as 2 armor charges rather than just 1. And then just to fill it out, I put on a recuperation so that I get a little bit of health back every time I get that Orb of Power. And when it comes to our class ability mark, first off, a Bomber so that we get that cooldown whenever we activate our class ability near targets, a Reaper so that we're able to get that Orb of Power after we kill a target after dropping our barrier, and then also a Powerful Attraction so that whenever we activate our barrier, all those orbs of power around us are going to be pulled into us. Now, with the artifact for this season, first off, obviously you want to Void Elemental Orb. When it comes to the 4th column, I recommend the Overload Machine Gun, the Elemental Fury, so you're doing those extra damage to champions with your abilities and elemental orbs when they're stunned, and then a refreshing pickup so that whenever we throw that enemy, it's going to recharge our least powered ability. And then in the final column, Monochromatic Maestro, so that we're able to get that extra damage bonus. And then I actually went with elemental munitions again just to feed into more heavy bricks on the ground as well as special. I've been using a Hall Denial on this setup, a trace rifle from the Season of the Haunted, so it's really solid for that. But do know that a rapid fire ranger would be really solid for the setup for consistent weakening. Now, I like to always talk about how this is going to be good in endgame setups. First off, for your barrier, getting those volatile rounds are going to be definitely a benefit for you. For unstoppables, I think this is going to be one where you're just going to have to put on a fusion rifle of some sort to, be able to do that. Unfortunately, Void does not work with unstoppables. And then finally, for the overload, getting those suppression effects, but again, you're going to be using that LMG most of the time, so the overload will be able to handle for that. Thanks so much for watching this video, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed it. Again, the Heart of Inmost Light is still an absolute busted exotic for you, and I definitely recommend checking out my video from noob to vet, where I actually kind of cover a 3 different builds that you can use for the Heart of Inmost Light. But this one again is going to be way more of a focused endgame one, where you're able to take on the GMs, your master, legend, lost sectors all by yourself. But thank you again for watching the videos, guys, recently. I really do appreciate it. We are so close to 10K subs on YouTube, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm going to be likely doing a final shape giveaway once that happens, and but that also depends on if the final shape even happens at this point with all the Destiny drama going on. But thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, becoming a member, and commenting down below, and follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Birdman778. Thanks so much. Hope you have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.